and welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ETH. I am Ashwani Mishra, bringing to you conversations with CXOs over a cup of chai. Joining me today is Srinivas Kollipara, CIO at L&T Infrastructure Development Projects Limited. Welcome on Cutting Chai Stories, Srini.
Most welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. Could you take us through your early childhood, and also share the story around how you were lured, if I may say, for an entrance exam and which you were not aware of in Guntur. So let's hear that story first before we move to more questions.
Oh yeah, that's quite an interesting story. After my 10th, actually in our native place, I'm from Andhra Pradesh. We used to actually we have to go for 11th and 12th, which we call as a junior college. So I had very good marks in 10th, and I have applied in all the top colleges in city. I've also got an admission, but my father, he came silently and said, "Now it's a vacation time, so what you'll do here? Just go with my friend to native place and enjoy for 2-3 days and come back." I said, "It's fine." Then I just went with his father. My father's friend. So we went together, and yeah, even his father son also had a son with the same age. So we stayed there in Guntur and once nice village, and we were going through. And next day he said, "Why don't you join me in a scooter? So we'll just go for a ride and come back."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, fine." So I thought he'll be taking us to some fields and somewhere for a picnic kind of thing. I said I was very excited, and I said, "Yeah, let me go." So we went, and suddenly he took us to a college where a lot of people were there. Suddenly I was a little bit surprised. I'm like, "Uncle, when did we come?" And he said, "No, just wait, just wait." And after a few minutes, he came with two papers and like, "This is actually an entrance exam. So why don't you just write the exam? And this is for your 11th and 12th residential." Actually, it was a residential.
Okay.
And I said, "I'm never interested in residential. I want to study in Hyderabad." He said, "Anyway, as we have come here, why don't you try once?" I was actually thinking very wildly, I will definitely fail myself. I will make sure that I'll fail myself in the entrance exam, and so that I will never get an admission in that college. Then I was just thinking that. Then the exam started. Then the wild thought process started looking at the first question. Hey, I know this answer. Tick. Second question, third question. So I said, "Hey, this looks very interesting, very easy." And then I just finished the exam. And to my surprise, I was selected in the top batch.
Oh, that's amazing.
But it was literally, I was not happy at all to get an admission in the residential college because I was always at home with my parents. I never wanted to move out of Hyderabad. So it was a long, very interesting story. And after that, okay, somehow I moved to the college with my study material and all that. I actually wanted to do a medicine. So
Okay.
I bought all my outside, I purchased some material from Brilliant. At that time, it was a postal material for preparing like your IIT and other stuff. And we also have NPC and BIPC. BIPC is for biology, physics, and chemistry, where you can take in a medicine seat. So I have joined there. I took BIPC. My father was thinking I was an MPC, but I took BIPC after joining there. And I started studying. Suddenly, the college people came and took all my material from my trunk, which was an iron box.
Right.
At that age, we had a big iron trunk box. So they said, "You're not allowed to read any other material other than the material given by the college."
Okay.
So they took the entire material and they informed my father. My father came back rushing from Hyderabad and said, "What the hell you have taken BBC? I want you to be an engineer." I'm an engineer myself. So he said, "Please move to engineer." So I moved from BIPC to MPC. And that was my career move. First thing, moving from medicine to engineering, and that continued.
Very interesting. So you wanted to be a doctor. Your father wanted you to be an engineer. You did your mechanical engineering actually.
Yes, I've done my. So first year I've done there, and then I've moved back. I was never interested in residential college again. So after first year, I came back to Hyderabad. I threw my books all around and said, "I'm not going for the college anymore in residential. Either I will study or I will not study. If you want to study, I will study only in Hyderabad."
Okay.
Then my father said, "You get an admission here, you are free to join. I'm sure you'll never get an admission here because it's already second year. and one condition that you should only join a top college here. That's a condition. If you get in a top college, top 2 colleges, I will allow you to study, continue second year here. Otherwise, you're going back to residential. So I tried very best with my brother. I went to the top 2 colleges where I've already written entrance. One of the college denied, saying that no, our admissions are over, so you cannot take.
Right.
Other college luckily said, your track record of 10th is very good and we know your school very well. A lot of your school people come to our college. So we would allow you if you can take a permission from the intermediate board that they're allocating one seat for you, and then we don't have, we'll be absolutely happy to have you here. So luckily I got the seat, and my father didn't have any other choice except to allow me to continue.
Very interesting, you know. So
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Srini. From you completed your mechanical and then transitioned into roles of IT. And how did that happen? I believe you started off with Capsons, which is a manufacturing.
In the LPG gases and other stuff. See, my passion right from day one was computer science. So when I even joined, I actually got an admission in Warangal, but I didn't want to move out of Hyderabad with the experience I had in my 11th.
Right.
That staying outside home. So I was very precise that I want to continue my education only in Hyderabad. So where I got an admission only in mechanical in Hyderabad in my rank. So I took mechanical, but they said, sir, there are very good chances every year. A lot of students move away. So we will have an opportunity to move to computer science.
Okay.
Unfortunately, once I finished my first year, absolutely nobody moved out of computer science. So there was no seat available in computer science. So I had to continue my mechanical with no choice.
Okay.
But my passion was always computer science, automation, robotics in back of my mind right from the day one.
And you joined Capsons wherein they were looking for an experience of.
Oh yeah, that's a very fantastic. Yeah.
You didn't have that experience at all,
Yes,
So
yes.
And still you managed to get that.
Exactly. So actually, right from my second year onwards, I started going to school, a lot of companies. My father, in that way, because I took mechanical, he was very passionate about me in training about all the subjects of mechanical, how the industry works, how the automation works. So he took me to his office, which is a HMT, Hindustan Machine Tools. And it fascinated me that, oh, wow, the company, looks like such big company, so huge machinery, so many departments. And then I took permission from my college, and then I think I've started going to office like a regular employee, daily morning, 6 o'clock office bus, and then go to office, work there till evening, and come back. So in that way, actually, I started going to companies right from my second year. Though now we call kind of an internships, and so at that time we didn't have this word of internship and all, but I started going. So right from my second year I started going. Third year I almost spent near to 8-9 months. Second year I spent at least around 4 to 5 months, and the fourth year I spent completely 1 year doing my 6-axis robotics project.
Oh, okay.
In HCL, that was the first kind in India where any manufacturing unit used robotics with 6-axis. So it's a huge robot running from entire floor. So that was my full project. I spent all the time. So by the time I finished my fourth year of engineering, I had literally 2 years of working experience. So then, because of this financial thing, I thought, let me, instead of going for further studies in US and all that, I would do my job. So even in engineering, I was speaking to you, right from my second year, I took a bank loan. I asked my father, you don't spend any money on me. Let me take a bank loan. And literally, I spent 1 month with a bank manager, daily giving my darshan to him in the morning, evening, okay, until he gives me a sanction that loan. So from I used to take tuitions to almost 30 students every day to repay my loan for my engineering every year. Along with that's my also petty cash. So income, I never used to ask my parents of any money afterwards.
Right.
So that comes to my engineering finish. But your point of Capsons, that was very interesting. They have advertised for Pan-India GETs, one person from each state. So they have announced and somehow applied, but the application said you need 2 years experience. Right. So I thought, yeah, I have 2 years experience, so I can apply. I never thought that they were asking 2 years experience after your engineering.
After your college.
So I was only thinking I have 2 years experience, I can apply. So I just somehow applied, And by the time I have applied, actually, I have not even got my final year results.
Okay.
I just written my exam and that's it. So entrance, they have conducted the entrance. I got through the entrance. Then the final interview was called. All the vice presidents were sitting because these are very prestigious GET positions, one person per state. And they have gone through my profile and they were shocked. They immediately called the HR and said, "Hey, this guy doesn't have 2 years experience. How come he was shortlisted?" Then I said, "Sir, I have 2 years experience. You see all these certificates from various companies where I worked. Almost you can count 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. So it is a little bit more than two years." Then they said, "Okay, we will ask few questions, 2-3 questions. If you are satisfied, then we will continue the interview. Otherwise,
You'll have to leave.
you have to leave." Yeah.
Right.
Then they asked every question. I think right from product costing, marketing, strategy, how do you deliver? They asked me one question about how do you start the design of a product, the costing, and what all the various departments, the mock-up, the calculations with some sample, and how exactly it goes to the distributor, dealer, and the consumer. I could give a full-fledged example. They were really shocked and said, "My goodness." Then I said, "But you have not even finished your engineering." I said, "Sir, I'm very positive. You see my marks. I'm almost a topper, top 3%, 4% in my college. So I'm sure I'll clear my exams very well." They put one condition. So exception, I was the only exception there. They said, if you are through with your exams, you get your certificate and you have the job. So luckily in the next 2 weeks, I got my marks announced and I was through. I immediately rushed to the company HR and given a copy of my pass, this thing. And I've joined there. And basically the first 3 months was a continuous training. So I was a topper in that 3 months training as well. There were a lot of people across India. We all moved in one place in Hyderabad. Okay. So it was 3 months complete training sessions. A lot of faculties were coming across globe, various industries. They were giving training sessions. There were exams every week. So I was a topper. And so one of the country head, he was a VP vice president. He said, "Srini, you are reporting to me, rest all in the fields across India, pan India." So I was the only person in corporate working with him. And his name was also Rao. And my also Srinivas Rao. So we had a nickname each other, Mr. Rao reporting to Mr. Rao.
Mr. Rao. Very interesting. Very interesting. Srini, you've worked across companies, and TCS was one of them where you spent a lot of time. And you've worked in different geographies as well. So you worked in London, you worked in China. What were some of the learnings that you have imbibed, working in these organizations with different cultures again? And how has that enabled you in your current role, or how has that made you a better leader, if I may say so?
Yeah. So right from my day one, actually, because of my learnings with I will say he was one of my initial guru, I can say, Mr. Rao. He was teaching me, you have to take leadership. You should not wait for somebody to give you the delegation power. You take the power with you until someone says you're going beyond your limits. He said, till then, you're free to take decisions. You're free to do whatever work you want with intention of it is good to the organization. So he said, this is a simple one thumb rule. Right. So I took it very strongly and that helped me across my careers in Bangalore, wherever I work. I have done a lot of certifications in Bangalore before even going to London, which is the first overseas. I could do 20 technical certifications when I was doing my second, third job in Bangalore. Right. Within a period of 2 years, like Java, HTML, CSS, program manager, project management. So almost 20 certifications I did. So that gave me a lot of awareness and very strong skill set in technical. So when I moved to London, he always insisted that my guru, like I was telling Mr. Rao, he always said, always think of any other person, even in the same company, even your colleague, treat him as a customer. So when you start thinking that he's a customer and his pain is your pain, and always he used to say, when they come with a complaint, you think on their behalf as if it is your pain and start thinking, what is that you're going in his mind? Then definitely you'll come with the immediate solution. So you'll never delay the things. So that was a concept embedded in my mind by him in the very initial stages. So even in the London, I used to work very dynamically with companies like BMW, Yahoo, Benz, Citrix. So a lot of top 50 companies you name, I've worked most of them as a senior architect and senior consultant. So always I had this in mind that yes, they are my customers. I have to fulfill. So I used to wear my hat when they come with a complaint. Think of like behave like them, think like them.
Right.
So putting yourself in their shoes and thinking in perspective of them. So that gave me a lot of what is a like thinking process and say, okay, and being an architect and this thing, that's very important for me on what direction they're thinking, what they want to convey actually. So once you listen, that's one thing I've learned over my career. Do a lot of listening,
That's very
understand,
important. Yes.
yeah, understand, listen, then digest the things what they want, and then actually put your flavor of the solution to that. So that would definitely work and yield. So I worked in London, many customers. I worked in Germany for many customers. Then after that, I had to come back to India for personal father reasons, and again I moved to TCS. So now again TCS, I can say he's my second guru, mentor kind of thing. His name is Rajana. Now he's a current TCS group head for Hyderabad.
Right.
So he was. We didn't have much discussions, but whenever we talked, even for a few minutes, he used to empower you. He said, like, Srini, now you are responsible. You deliver. I will not ask any questions. I will only interfere when you come to me, saying that I cannot handle it. Only at the time, please, I will come to me. But there was very interesting. I was handling G accounts, multiple global and all that. Very first incident in China, when I was handling this for customers in Europe, we had this entire Chinese team. So because you
Right.
were also asking about the culture, how did you understand the culture? I had a lot
Yes.
of patience in thinking this thing, but that's a little bit shocked to me on the very first meeting. The customer was from Europe and we were having a meeting. It was almost 12:30 afternoon. Suddenly two of the team, one was a team lead, another critical team member in the project, they just left the meeting room
Okay.
in middle of the meeting. That too when you're having a customer review.
Right.
And I was a little bit shocked, but I said, like, the customer also complained that how come they leave the meeting in between. And I said, you don't worry, let me handle after the meeting. So it was too early to understand the culture. But after that, I just went out after the meeting and asked them, what made you to leave the room? Because instead of jumping, I always first ask questions. I think that's the second learning I do. Like,
After
I just
listening,
ask,
so
listen, understand, listen,
right.
understand.
Very,
Because
very important.
jumping immediately outright will not yield any results.
True.
Because he may have some valid reason which you don't understand, and you overimpose yourself, shout, nothing will work. So as I just asked him, what made you to leave the room? They simply said, sir, this is our lunch time. In China, 12:30 means 12:30. We have to go
Okay.
lunch. You should know our culture. You should have not arranged a meeting at 12:30.
12:30. Oh my goodness.
So I said, I'm very sorry. And then, so that is why I used to, understand their culture. Once you mingle yourself with them, the people, their culture, their habits, I think things go a lot smoother. One very important, very critical thing, which at least even today, I repent that I was not that particular location. I'll just tell that my incident there. So once the country head, he came to me saying that, Srini, this is a particular customer. He actually signed a group contract of almost 35 global projects. And the first implementation is in China.
Right.
And this customer already rejected two program managers, one of Chinese and one of Indian. And they have given an ultimatum. So there was a group country, from top TCS head, escalation has come to the country head. And my country had said, Srini, in my entire career in TCS, this is the first escalation call
Okay.
that I'm ever attending. And I have complete trust on you. Is that you're going for a meeting tomorrow to the customer? That was on Friday, he told me Friday evening. I immediately left to Shanghai to meet the customer in a hotel restaurant. We had almost 2.5 hours of discussion. Then they took me to their office and they said, fine, we will update you. What's the status? Then I think immediately I got a call on Sunday from my country. He said, Srini, you are through. They want you to handle their entire customer portfolio. And he said, from Monday onwards, somebody else will handle your existing complete accounts.
Oh, okay.
I said, this is amazing, sir. There is no KT given. I don't know who is a new person and what will happen. He said, Srini, I have complete faith because all the projects executions I have done, I received almost near to 100%. Couple of projects I reached 100% customer satisfaction index. So my average of all my deliverables in China, even the one which I've taken, my average is 99.4, 99.6 is my customer satisfaction rating, but that is my average.
That's amazing.
So I did for this customer one thing which I feel I recommend till late, because that was the first go live. Same time my wife was having delivery. She was in Hyderabad.
Right.
So a call came saying that emergency, she had to be, surgery has to be done. And then she is joined in hospital. So please start immediately and come back by tomorrow from China to Hyderabad.
Right.
Then the same next day was the customer go live day. So it was very hard decision for me by keeping the trust factor from the country saying that, yes, we trust you so much. And this is a group escalation already happened. And we did so much of work handling multiple projects and was the first go live in China. So I took a decision that I will stay in China. So at least for the go live date. And of course, the delivery happened for my first daughter came in Hyderabad. I couldn't stop myself crying. So I just went out. I sat in a car. I literally bursted out. I couldn't stop myself at missing my first daughter, first baby delivery. But that's one point I still have in heart, that I was not there next to her for the first delivery. But sometimes you have to do a hard decision.
You need a choice.
Hard decisions you have to make. So this was for the organization and for the team who trusted me so much.
Right.
So somehow we can still manage the family, but I think this organization decisions, a small twist happens, I think, that will be a very black spot on your career, which I didn't want. And in fact, my wife also understood and she supported, but still that pricks me sometimes.
So very interesting insights, right from the way you have handled various cultures and the learnings that you have imbibed, from working with different companies across geographies, and also, trying to balance the work and life, personal life. My next question would be, how have you managed to do that? How have you achieved that work-life balance now? I'm sure that now. So I will be very specific.
Yeah. Initially, if you see, I was a complete workaholic. I was like a machine running continuously, morning to night, late nights, because I had this passion and a dream. Right from my first company in India, I had the highest award, whatever they had in this company. In Germany, I was the first Indian. They said, sir, you're the first non-Indian to whom you're giving almost like an Employer of the Year award.
Non-German.
So, non-German.
Right.
Yeah. And in TCS, I had received the highest of awards. And then one of the customer who was in a group like GE, the group GE head of IT, global IT head, she came all the way to China to give a special award. Oh. And she said, this is the first time in her history or in TCS or that they have appreciated, they cannot stop themselves of giving an award, that because the deliverables what we made before time and in quality was very complicated projects. So that is the level of awards I had in every company. So in TCS, you don't believe me, I used to work from morning 7 to morning 2 a.m. That was my routine. So
there was China, no work-life balance at that point in time, Srini.
No work-life balance, except maybe some weekends. So in fact, after that, after baby was born, I just said, like, I came back and then.
Were you allowed to go back, Srini?
Yes, of course. But even at home, it is an office. At home also office, so continuous calls, laptops. I will tell one incident. I was so workaholic, you will not believe me, because I was so technical. I worked in multiple areas, right from your administration, DBAs, operating systems, technology, programming and all. There was one of the customer in China where suddenly we had our DBA. He was sick or his family was very critical, so he immediately left and we didn't have a backup. And it was almost very near to the production. One of these components has to be moved and we couldn't get any basis DBA guy.
Right.
Unfortunately, at that time, I was running on very high fever.
Oh, okay.
Extreme high fever. I couldn't even get up from my bed. So I asked my wife to bring my laptop. I asked her to switch it on. I switch it on. I logged into the account. So I will not mention which customer, but I given a laptop to my wife. I said I was sleeping. I was telling her the commands. Please type this command. This is the spelling of the command. What is the result? Okay, next. What is the result? Okay, next. So she executed all these commands for the customer when I was sleeping and when basis guy was not there. Can you imagine that a delivery head doing that? So that's a level of craziness and technology and passion I had. Work means no second thought.
Right. Very interesting, Srini. So we are short on time.
But now I'll just take a minute.
Sure.
One thing changed the career of me in my FL Smith. The country head said, Srini, you are the last guy to leave the organization every day and getting complaints from admin that they're waiting for you to switch off the lights in the company. He said, you have to have work-life balance. Next, from immediately, I'll give you a few weeks. You have to leave by 5:30. I will get an attendance from admin daily. And your next appraisal is not based on your work, but based on how early or how many days you're going on time to home. So that was a trigger which changed me. Now, actually, when work is there, of course, I work very late nights, evenings, and all that. But I also encourage now. I change myself a lot. Whenever I get time, I come home. Not like regular. I try to follow the office timings. Weekends, I try not to jump in too many things. So I have consciously changed my mind across a couple of years that yes, you have to give very equal importance to family, take care of them, spend time with your kids, wife, and also make sure the projects and the organization is also not impacted. I train the same to my team as well. So it was a very hard decision, very consciously doing for many number of months.
Right. You spoke about FL Smith, Shini. So you were there for a long period of time. I believe around 10 years you were there.
Yeah, exactly.
And no, you have a great efficiency in IT and technology and areas around it. But at FL Smith, you also went beyond IT in various different functions. Where you were the go-to man for them.
Yes.
So how did you align this business acumen also along with the technology piece?
Yeah. So it actually started, as I said, right from my engineering days. When I was doing my mechanical, as I said, I used to go to the companies, study the entire organization flow, structure. I used to make presentations. So in that way, I actually started acumen the business, the domain of the business. What means sales? What does that mean? What they actually do? Marketing? What they actually do? Purchasing? What exactly they do? So inventory, the stock guy, what they exactly do. So I studied over a period of years, and because of my various projects, the one thing I used to tell even the teams now is first understand the customer, his domain. Don't jump into coding and programming.
Right.
So the very basic thing I used to do is first study the entire how the process works, how the business works, what the various functions, what is their industry, what is their domain. I do a lot of study in that and try to gain the domain knowledge. So it's IT, you can just, it's a plugin. Right. But without understanding the business and the functions and what is their actual need, if you're trying to plug in something, you see some 5 holes and you're trying to plug in some these gaps with this, I think it will not work. So you really understand what exactly the business is. And the solution, what you're giving, is it a long-term solution or it's just like a plug-in solution? Okay. So I never look at a plug-in solutions. So over a period, I gained enormous knowledge in any customer I used to work. First, I used to understand the domain and the thing. So I became a business IT. I'm now very strong in business. So that helped me in FL Smith. I used to handle a lot of projects. Globe, I used to travel almost 15 days in India, 15 days abroad. So every CEO, CFO, with whom I work, they used to call me for business transformations, IT transformations. Business transformation is nothing touching IT at all. They used to say, we have this entire company. Can you please study the entire process of the company and come with process design changes? What changes we have to make in sales? You design a sales funnel. Can you study the entire manufacturing flows and come with what are the inventory procedures we need to change? How inventory has to happen? Can you design a warehouse? So I used to work on a lot of non-IT projects, IT projects, mix of IT and non-IT projects. That gave me because of my background, it's a completely evolving thing. I used to work on even cash flows, net working capital, indirect spend projects, which have nothing to do with IT.
IT, true.
So
That's a zeal that you have, to learn new things and not only keep limited to your function or role that you have been given. So quite interesting that way,
it
Srini.
is my passion to, I still say work is passion. So I work with passion, whether it is technology, non-technology. I try to learn. I feel that learning is never-ending story.
Never ending. True, true. Final question before we wind up, Srini. Anything that you have in mind that you want to do, once you hang in your boots, or anything that you have, wish to do after, retirement or whatever. So, or you didn't find time to do that till now.
Oh yeah, I need to learn guitar,
Okay.
which I always feel from my kids that days I have to learn guitar, which my daughter is learning now. But out of it, actually, I want to spend a lot of time on consulting. I feel that the colleges and the institutes, I think they're not trained in a way what exactly the industry wants. So it is. I feel that I can put a lot of my emphasis and teaching and coaching on various subjects, not on just pure technical, but how exactly the technology and business has to be linking each other, and what kind of things they have to trained in as they go in their studies. And I want to spend a lot of time in the education institutes. In fact, my dream is to start a school and a college,
Oh,
even today.
right. Okay.
Every time I think of a school or a college, basically I want to start with a school, and then I want to bring the best of the world in the school.
Very
So
noble
that's
thought.
still my dream. I'm not sure because it needs a lot of funding. But if anything happens any day, somebody helps me in funding a school, or they approach me to as a joint venture something, I'll be really interested. Even I may leave my job also and to do that because that's my passion. So
Right.
I want to start up a thing and make the best in the world school and the college, which they are not only trained in education, but also they're right to work in an industries.
Right.
Ready to
Right.
work, I would say ready to work.
I hope you achieve that, Shri. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with you and having
Nice to
a
you.
conversation over a cup of chai. Thank you, Shri.